So this is where we left off on day 2, and we're starting on day 3. We've got the bottom half of the walls up for 3 sides of the outhouse, and we're going to continue taking the walls up a little bit higher today. We've left the front part open for now. That's where our door is going to be, and we'll eventually get figured out what we're going to do for a door, but we haven't figured that out yet, so we haven't put anything there yet. So today we're continuing on with the outhouse build and going to extend the walls up a little bit higher. So before we got started today, we went through our pallet stack and tried to find some pallets that we thought were going to work for this next level. And what you see me doing here is kind of trimming some up. These particular pallets that we decided to use, they were the right dimensions, except for they had these ends sticking off that weren't going to work for us. It's kind of hard to stack them end on end with all those pieces, so I'm just trimming those off right now so that we can make better use of them. So now I'm trying to get this pallet down to the exact size that we need it to finish out each side of these walls. And I'm trying to get this board off of here without breaking it, because at this point I think, well, I might, move it down and reuse it. But if you've ever tried to disassemble pallets, they don't really like to come apart very well, especially depending on how old they are and if they've been sitting out in the weather. This particular board didn't really want to come off. If I tried beating it off, it would have tore it all up, and so I got the hacksaw out and I just sawed off the nails. If you had a sawzall, that would probably make it a lot easier if you're trying to save your wood. I ended up not even using that piece after all that effort. I could have just probably beat it off of there and tore it up, but who knows, I might use that piece of wood somewhere else. So what I'm doing, I'm trying to get the end pieces off of here so that I can trim down the larger supports and make the pallet a little bit shorter. And then I'm gonna put it on the end. You see the bigger pallet next to it, and that's gonna go up on the top, and then this one is gonna go next to it to make the wall go up higher. So you might have noticed when I was just sawing that last board, I kind of stopped and didn't cut that all the way off. And that's because I ran into a nail, and these pallets have all kinds of nails in them, so sometimes you have to deal with that sort of stuff. So what I ended up doing is getting the hacksaw out and putting it in the cut that I had made with the circular saw so that I could get through that nail, and then I just went ahead and finished sawing it off as it needed to be. So here I've cut some pieces of 2x4s to fit in to this pallet on the end. We've already got one of the smaller ones kind of in place back there, but we need to be able to attach it to this bigger one that we're putting in. So that's what these 2x4s are going to be for. Like I said in the previous video, this is just something you got to do is add like little pieces of wood here and there just to kind of make the structure come together and just have a place where you can screw one pallet to the next and attach them to each other. And now that we've got those 2x4s in place, we're going to lift it up and set it on the bottom portion of the wall and start kind of getting everything lined up and get it screwed together. So as we're screwing these together, you notice I'm attaching the thicker boards one to the other because those are the strongest parts of the pallets. And you might notice that we have our pallets turned different directions. We debated about which way is stronger, and really what it came down to, this is just our opinion, is that you gotta turn them which way they need to fit, especially if you're using pallets that are all different sizes. So that's what we ended up doing, and then you can add bracing as you need to make it stronger. Like if you got one turned one way and it seems like it's too flimsy, then add some 2x4s in there like we did on the end there to attach the pallets together. So we're going to continue putting screws in there, and you see here I've grabbed the ratchet strap again because our pallets just aren't, they're not really straight and they're not matching up like flush like we would like them to. So we don't want it to have a gap in there between where the wood is touching and the screw goes in. So I'm ratcheting it down to pull that top pallet down to meet the bottom one so that the screw goes in and it holds it tight. And here we are trying to get the second side, the other side of the wall, put up. Doing the same thing as we did on the one we saw previously, attaching screws down into the main supports on the pallet below.
Now it is. Now you can't see anything.
Yeah, we'll take it up. Stop it. It'll be an action shot.
No, I'll just move. Wi-Fi.
Go back here. And so now you see me grabbing the ratchet strap to connect these two together again. Just had to get them pulled up flush together so we get our screws lined up. And you didn't see this in the video, but I did add some 2x4s into the end of the big pallet again for us to use to connect the two together. The little pallet here was kind of a pain to use because one of the boards, the one that's on the bottom part there, was pretty crooked. We cut off the really crooked part, but this part down at the bottom was still kind of crooked, so we have to kind of work with what we got though, but it seems like it's going to work okay for us. And so these are some final shots of what we got done today. You'll notice I added a 2x4 across the top. This is just to give some support right now. The side walls are still pretty flimsy, and when you're building this stuff, it'll be that way until you get everything put together. You just kind of add supports here and there to kind of stabilize it. And then the more screws you add, the more boards you add, the tighter it gets, and then it ends up being pretty sound in the end. So that's what we got for day 3.